Hey guys, welcome to another tutorial. And in today's tutorial, I wanted to show you a cool way to how to use scraps. This is my inspiration for you for this month's challenge on handmade blog. And you can see that I have a lot of scrap pieces. Now, these were the scrap pieces that I had created when, there was that toner sheets demo with craft angles, reactive foils, and craft angles toner sheets. So in case you have missed that video out, I'll link that below for you all. But now you can see that, I have just used craft angle stitch circle dies and I have die cut these circles out of them. And I have kept the negative as well. Probably I'll use them later on during my projects. But in this particular case, we'll be using all these die cut circles in our cards and we'll be making like lots and lots of cards. Now, this is a cool way, to use scraps. In my cases, these were foiled scraps which I had created, and I found that this was a really cool way, that rather than just throwing out samples, it is a good way to, die cut them and accommodate them in cards. You can also do this with leftover pattern papers. Like if you are a scrapbooker and you have a lot of pattern papers that are there with you, cardstock that are there with you, then you can definitely do this. Now, in this particular video, you'll see me using a lot of Diwali related stamps. Now, all these Diwali stamps are by craft angles, which were created, over the period of years. So I don't remember the name of all the stamps. However, I'll make sure that I'll link down all the stamps for you below. Plus, if you buy them in combo on a craft angles on a handmade website, you will find that they come in a deal and you will save much more money. And over here you can see that I have already die cut the circles and I am just sticking them to create a visual triangle. Now, whenever you are designing cards, there are certain concepts that you need to take care of, like don't overcrowd your card or make sure that you keep a balance in your card, etc., etc. So these are some of the basics that you learn once start designing cards, etc. So here I'm using two such concepts of designing. One is, creating a visual triangle. So whenever, you are designing something, you'll always see that a lot of card makers or people who create mixed media layouts, etc., they add items in three, any items. Like if you are adding dewdrops on a card, if you are adding such kind of circles on a card, which are repetitive, however, they are similar yet different, stamped products, whatever they add on top of their cards or die cuts, it is normally in a multiple of three. Normally it is three. Most of the time it won't be more than three because, it may overcrowd your card. So that is called as a visual triangle, that whenever you are creating a card, make sure that you cover the areas and it is always in a triangle. Now what that does is it creates a beautiful design which is good looking to your eye. Plus the other concept that I have used is the balance. So if you see that, in most of my cards, these cards that I create, I have created a triangle of three die cuts. So it is either three circles, uh, and that is if it is on the left side, then I make sure on the right I add sentiment. So the right does not look too empty, and that is what I mean by balancing the card. Okay, and these are all design concepts that you learn once you start making cards or doing layouts. So that is one way, and you could have also created these kind of layout like how I am doing here, that I have added the um, bigger circle in the center and then laying it around, and either adding them on one side or the other or create a diagonal pattern. Just play around like how I am doing here and see what makes more sense or what visually looks appealing to you. And then once you decide, you can take a picture of this and keep it as your reference, and then stick it based on how you have taken the photograph, and then add your stamping at the later date once your card is ready. Now wherever I feel that the lower design is too eye catchy or a lot of foil is there in it, like in this particular case where I had used the negative of the foil with plain toner sheets, so you will see a lot of design is there. So what happened was that had a lot of foiling on top of it, and that drew my attention more towards that particular circle rather than the other circles. So what I did was I kind of added vellum to, you can say, um, reduce the intensity of that foil. So, all the circles have equal amount of visual effect. So that is why I'm using vellum in this particular case. Also, you will see that many of my circles are not complete circles, right? But that is completely okay, because in my case, you can see that I am layering one circle on top of the other. And that ways, I don't have to throw away those small pieces of foils that I had created. And rather, I can use certain part of them. And, once I layer one on the top of other, nobody will know that the lower circles were not perfect, or, there is some part missing of that circle. And this is, again, guys, trust me when I tell you, this is a really good way to use scraps. And, because I really find it annoying, I'm not able to throw my scraps, and at the end of the day, I feel, what will I do with them? It's just a waste of space on my cupboard, and you know how I am. I have no space in my cupboard. So I really like this way in which, you were able to use the scraps, at the same time make such beautiful modern looking cards. Now, this I have made Diwali cards because most of the foils that I have used are Diwali related patterns, lanterns, diyas, etc. However, you could have easily switched this up with other designs. Like I also have some Santa foils, etc., which I could have used to create Christmas cards, etc. But I could only make a few cards, during this video, and I chose to make some Diwali cards so that I can gift it out to people whenever, I send them gifts. But again, this could have easily been used to make a Valentine card, to make, since I know Valentine is coming, right? And Craft Angles has some really pretty toner sheets for Valentines as well. Plus, I'm sure it will look beautiful with red and gold foils. Again, Craft Angles has 14 shades and foils which you can pick and choose. So you can definitely make Valentine cards, congratulations, graduations, new home, etc., etc. There are a lot of ways, and these kind of modern cards are very in these days, minimalistic looking modern cards. So this is a good way to, at the end, make some cards very quickly and use up your scraps. So again, you will see that more or less over the course of this quite some part of the video where I make these cards, I'm using the same concept. I'm selecting three foil circles of similar shade. Now, again, this is one thing which is very important along with the design things that we talked about, the visual triangle and the balancing, that you need to make sure that whatever you're using, like you are using if three colors of foiled patterns or three colors of pattern papers or three colors of cardstock, whatever you're using, they complement each other. So, they are of a similar shade family. So don't like go with completely complement the shades which don't complement each other at all. Like if you're going with something, like in my case, if I'm going with a Valentine card, then I'll probably go with the patterns which are of a same pattern paper pack. So it may have a lot of pinks and whites and reds, or a lot of same colored family things. So what will happen is, if it has a same color or similar pattern which is being repeated, you feel that it is a part of a single cluster, and that helps bringing the whole card together. Now, in my next cards, what I'm doing is I'm using the scraps in a different ways. Again, this is an old Diya stamp by Craft Angles. And what I'm doing is I'm just coloring, first stamping them on watercolor paper. So this is Craft Angles 100% cotton cold press watercolor paper, which I recommend for stamping and watercoloring on top of. And then I'm coloring them with some Craft Angles liquid watercolors. Again, the coloring is going to be very, very simple, not, very fancy watercoloring. I wanted these cards to be extremely quick. And you will see that I'm just coloring them very quickly, not bothering a lot about, where the lights are going or how realistic it is looking, etc. And again, since it's a watercolor paper, you don't have to put a lot of effort in blending. Plus, it's 100% cotton, so it is very easy to blend. So I'll just color all the diyas and then fussy cut them. And once I'm happy with how they're fussy cut, we will go back to assembling the complete cards. If you are new to my channel and this is the first video, you will see that I have a lot of videos previously where I have shown you coloring in depth and fussy cutting in depth. So what are the do's and don'ts while coloring, and what are the do's and don'ts of fussy cutting, etc. So I'll highly suggest you check those out. I'll try and link the videos below for you as well in case you want to check that out. But at the interest of not making these video too long, I have removed the coloring part, and I have removed the fussy cutting part. But you can see how the diyas look now. And another cool thing about foils is that, wherever you do this foiling, it will automatically resist things like watercolor, inks, etc. So they make a really cool background for your ink blending. And this is what you are seeing me doing right now. I have used some Tim Holtz Distress ink along with Craft Angle's ink blending brushes to create this beautiful ink blended pattern. And now I'll use that as a focal point of my card along with Dia's to create this note cards. Again, these note cards were very simple to make. Plus the added advantage that I'm using the scraps, and you can see that the item that I'm adding on top of it, that is Diaz in this case, were very easy to color plus fussy cut. Now, since the background is very pattern heavy, so what happens is that sometimes it may draw your eyes away from Diaz. In such cases, you can definitely use a piece of vellum in between the diya and the pattern. So what will happen is that will reduce the brightness or the pattern further, and then you can put a diya on top of it. In my case, I did not do it because the background was blue and my diya was red. So anyways, it because of the color contrast, I could easily see the diya on top of the pattern, even though it was a very vibrant, colorful, and on your face pattern. So this is one such way in which you can, use scraps. I still have more scraps left, and I'll plan few more cards with you if, you like this way of using scraps. And if you are looking for more ideas, do let me know in comments below if you would like to see more videos, and I'll definitely plan. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to like and comment, and do consider subscribing. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.